What is up, everybody? My name is Kyle and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for returning. I really appreciate it. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm doing a full Hoya houseplant tour. So I've got, I think, just over 50 Hoya here in the house. They're my favorite genus of plant. And I just want to do a walkthrough and kind of show you guys what I currently have in my collection. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each one because there's a lot of them. So, right here at the head, I'll say, like, if you have any questions about anything that you see or any of the conditions for any of these plants, please drop a comment. I'm happy to answer that. So yeah, we're just going to do a walkthrough. We'll start in the upstairs, then we'll move to my first floor, and then we'll move into the basement. And I think I'm just going to hold the phone for most of it and kind of walk through. But yeah, we'll walk through all the Hoya. If there's any interesting story around them, I'll make sure to call that out. If I was able to bloom the Hoya, I'll definitely make sure to call that out as well. And I'm gonna try my best to name all these Hoya without looking anything up. So I think I know the names of nearly all of them. I'll be sure to put the names of them on the screen as well, but I'll just let you know going into it, I'm gonna try to do all of this from memory. So yeah, without further ado, I think we should just get started. Cool. All right, so we're still here in my office, and we're gonna kick it off with this wall right here, which I believe I featured in another video. So starting over here, we have a Hoya verticillata. This is the variety that used to be Hoya parasitica black margin. Now mine, I don't have it under high enough light to have the black margins around the edges of the leaves, but it's still a great Hoya. Got it right here on the shelf above my desk. Moving on to this one, this is the Hoya ficii. I used to have two of these. I gave one away. Haven't had it bloom yet, but it's still growing, putting out new leaves. It's a cool Hoya, pretty no fuss. Moving right along over here, we have a Hoya albavata. I've got this one trailing, so I think that's why the leaves are getting smaller as they go, but I really like this one trailing, and I think it's a cool look, so it's going to continue trailing. Down here, I have a Hoya carnosa Wilbur Graves. This is the China form. I've yet to see the Russian form in person, but got the China form. I've cut it back a couple times. It's not quite putting out the splash that I want, so I'll probably cut it back again, but we'll see what that end of the vine does. Over here, this is a Hoya crassia petiolata super splash. I think I said that right. It does have a peduncle on it. Every time it's budded up, it's blasted. I'm not actually sure where the peduncle is hiding right now, but I love the leaves on this one. This might be one of my favorite Hoyas that I own from like how the leaves look standpoint. They're just really, really cool. They almost look like camouflage. So yeah, moving on. This is a Hoya croniana super silver. It looks super blue right now, but it is super silver. I wish it was putting out more silver leaves, but I've had to cut it back a couple times because of what I think it had. I think it had mites, but I've cut it back a few times, and a lot of the new growth hasn't been as splashy. But regardless, I love this. This was the first Hoya that I got to bloom. It's not blooming right now, but it has a ton of peduncles, and it blooms quite often. Right over here, I'm not going to open this one up. If you want to see more on this one, you can look at my terrarium video, but I keep my Hoya serpens in here, and this Hoya just loves being in a terrarium. I kept it in a 2-inch pot for a long time under a cloche, and it did nothing. Then when I built this terrarium for it, it took off. I mean, most of that in there is Hoya serpens at this point. Over here is my Hoya elliptica. I've struggled with this one. It has had mites. It might still have mites. I say it still might because it's currently blasting some blooms off of its peduncles. It's putting out new growth, like this is a new leaf. So it's not blasting new leaves, but I think there's still something going on with this one. So I water this one separately from the rest. I keep it separate from most of the Hoya. I mean, the mites can probably travel, but it's far enough, at least for my comfort right now. But I think this one still has something going on. So yeah, as you can see, I've treated it before. But yeah, still love this Hoya. I love the leaves, kind of like turtle shell look, but it's a struggler. So over here we have my Hoya callistophylla. I love this Hoya too. It puts out really like woody stems, and it almost appears like it's not going to put any new leaves out from them when it does that, but it consistently puts out new leaves. No peduncles, haven't gotten it to flower, but a really, really great Hoya. Super cool, like prehistoric looking leaves. They're very thick. They're a little fuzzy on the back too, at least when they first grow in, I think. That one didn't feel very fuzzy, but whatever. I'm not going to dwell too long on this one, but very cool Hoya. This is my Hoya David Kamingii pink flower. This one grows really, really quickly and is actually a pretty prolific bloomer. So right here we've got flowers, buds. It's almost always blooming. They don't really smell like anything to me, but yeah, really, really pretty flowers. Really, really easy bloomer. So if you come across this Hoya and you're looking for one that you want to bloom, I would recommend this one. Oh, forgot to mention, the Croniana Super Silver, the blooms smell, they kind of like jasmine. They smell similar to like a La Canosa bloom. They're really, really nice. They smell at night. These, like I said, don't really smell like anything. Moving on, this is my Hoya caudata Sumatra. And I got this one as a 2-leaf cutting, and I've just been letting it grow up this rope for my curtains, this drawstring. And I was gonna cut it back, but as you can see here, it has a peduncle on it, and it does bloom from time to time. So I'll throw a picture up for some of the ones that have bloomed. The last one up here is a Hoya linearis that I've got in this UFO planter. I featured it in another video, but yeah, Hoya linearis, one of my favorite Hoyas just in general. So yeah, that's pretty much everything on this wall. And then against all of this, over here, I have another Hoya abovata. This is the intervariegated variety. It's a really slow grower. This is a south-facing window, so it gets really good light, and it will put out new growth, but it's a very slow grower in my experience. I've got this one on a trellis just because I've had my other one trailing, so wanted to switch it up. Over here is another Hoya caudata. I did buy it as Hoya caudata Sumatra. This one doesn't really have any splashing. It's a pretty dark green Hoya caudata. But I got this one in Brooklyn, New York when I was on tour and managed to bring it all the way home to Illinois alive. I got it from a shop called Little Shop of Soil, I think is what it was called. But yeah, pretty no fuss. Hasn't bloomed or anything. Not nearly as splashy as my other caudata, but still cool. Over here is my Hoya rosita, one of two. You'll see one in the basement. This one gets some of the black margining around the edges when it gets high light. You can see a little bit on this one. It's not super pronounced, but yeah. So Hoya rosita. And then over here, this is my bookshelf. It's kind of a funny name for it because it's mostly a plant shelf with books on it. But there's a ton of Hoya, so I think we'll just start at the top and work our way down. Over here is a Hoya Matilde Splash. I got this one in Kentucky on tour. I actually popped over the border real quick to go pick this one up. I didn't know it was there. I just wanted to go check out the plant shop. Don't remember the name, but yeah, I struggle with this one. I think it's because it's mostly in cocoa coir and it dries out pretty quickly, but cool Hoya. I think it's a cross between the Hoya carnosa and the Hoya serpens. So yeah, cool Hoya. I struggle with it. Over here is a Hoya sigillatus. This is like the narrower form. I got this one in Nashville, Tennessee at the Nashville Farmers Market on a work trip. There's a cool plant shop that's attached to the Nashville Farmers Market that I highly recommend if you're ever there. This one was doing really well, and I moved it, and it started dying back and struggling. You can see some struggling leaves over here. But I've moved it back to near where I had it before, and I think it's doing well again. But we'll see, because this kind of just happened. Over here is a intervariegated Hoya species affinity Bertonier. I struggle with this one. This one dies back a lot. I don't love it. It's not really one of my favorite Hoyas. I know the variegation kind of fades as it comes in anyway. So yeah, it's in the collection, but don't necessarily love it. This one is, hold on, give me a second. I know this one. This is the Hoya. We'll come back to it. I know that one. Oh, no, Parviflora. This is the Hoya Parviflora. Cool looking Hoya. Nice, like lance-shaped leaves. Kind of looks Lacunosa-esque in shape, but I mean, it doesn't really have the same. I take that back. I guess the lance shape is similar to some Lacunosa, but it's got its own thing going on. I love the splashing. Hasn't bloomed, has really kind of just started putting out new growth for me. It's been dormant since I bought it, and I've had it for quite a few months at this point. Over here is a Hoya gracilis. It's fine. I don't really have much to say about that one. It does its thing. Over here is my Hoya australis lisa. It definitely needs to be up potted. I've cut it back a few times. I've got some props in the basement that you'll see, but yeah, I really love the way the variegation comes on this one is really pretty. I don't always appreciate it, hence why it's in the small pot, but I should give it a bigger pot and a little more love because it's a cool Hoya. Moving on to the last Hoya in the room, unless I forgot any. This is a Hoya Lacunosa Mint. This one hasn't bloomed for me, but it's a nonstop grower, and it's a really, really pretty Lacunosa. I don't know if it comes out great on my iPhone, but the coloration is just a really nice mint color with like dark specks in it. I mean, seriously, a no-fuss Hoya. I've moved it around a bunch. It really doesn't fuss. It hasn't bloomed. A lot of my Lacunosas seem to bud up pretty quickly, but yeah, I love this Hoya. I love the color of the leaves. It doesn't even need to bloom for me, honestly. So yeah, unless I forgot anything, I'm taking a quick look. That's everything here in the office. So with that, I'll move us on to the guest room. All right, so we're coming into the guest room here, and this should be pretty quick. There's only a couple Hoya in here. We will start with my Hoya curtisii. This one doesn't seem to like to be watered. It holds water. It's in like, I believe it's a Costa Farms plant, so it's in a pretty moisture retentive mix, but I don't water this one a lot. I want to say I water this one like once a month, but it's done really well for me. I've killed this species of plant before, but this one just continues to grow. It's actually growing down and back at this point. But yeah, hasn't bloomed for me yet, but I love the leaves on this one. I think most folks that are into Hoya have a love for the curtisii just because there's not many Hoya that have leaves that look like this. And yeah, they're very cardboardy. The shape is very cool. The splashing is awesome. And yeah, love this Hoya. Hasn't bloomed. I'm very careful with it because, like I said, it doesn't really like to be watered from what I can tell. I bottom water it when I can, and I water it sparingly. Moving on to here, this one I've featured in a video before, but this is my Hoya linearis. This is my favorite Hoya, definitely, in my collection. It's just a great Hoya. You don't see it that often, at least at this size. And I was pretty fortunate where when I bought it, it was in a nursery pot that was, sorry, I'm just trying not to like shoot out my window. But yeah, it was in a nursery pot that was about this diameter. As you can see, it's kind of bald on top, but it'll fill out eventually. It does get a little bit of sun off of this window on the top, but continues to put out new growth. It is just a cool statement plant to have hanging on your walls. It's currently budding up, and if you watch my other video, I mentioned that it does bud up for me, but I've never had it actually bloom, so I don't really anticipate it flowering. You can see, let's see if I can focus here. Up in like the center there, there's a peduncle that's blooming, or not blooming, that's budding up, but I don't think it's gonna bloom. Yeah, looking a little bluish. I don't know what's going on with the light, but yeah, Hoya linearis. Love this specific plant in my collection. We are out of focus here. There we go. Yeah, love this plant. Continues to grow. You saw I cut it back in a video, and it's already reached the ground again. Moving on, this is a Hoya latifolia outer variegated. This one used to be, and still sometimes is sold as, Hoya macrophylla. I've killed a few of these. It's pretty finicky. I don't know. I don't have many tips or tricks for this one, but this one specifically continues to grow for me, albeit slow, and it does die back every now and then, but I'm always happy to try with this Hoya because it's such a cool one. Another like prehistoric looking Hoya, one that's worth the effort to me. And you know, I'm actually going to turn it around because I have it facing the sun while I'm not displaying it. But as you can see, it's doing really well, especially for this type of Hoya because I've struggled with it in the past. You'll see downstairs I actually have a rooted cutting from like another full plant that I killed that's been doing all right. But yeah, I struggle with this one. Not this one specifically, but this species of Hoya particularly. Over here, I have a Hoya carnosa outer variegated. This is the Crimson Queen. It was sold to me as a Crimson Queen. It said it on the nursery pot, but I know how Hoya people can be. So if you want to get technical, this is just a outer variegated Hoya carnosa, but I bought it labeled as a Hoya Crimson Queen. I am led to believe that this is a Hoya Crimson Queen. If you're unfamiliar, a lot of that has to do with trademarks and trade names. So it's less about like the scientific name of the plant and more about like the marketing name that's given to the plant by the nursery that's able to trademark it. There's more to it than that, but yeah, people get quite up in arms when it comes to labeling and naming Hoyas. So I'm just going to call that out right there. Do with it what you will. And on that note, I think that is, yeah, that's all the Hoya here in the guest room. So we're out of focus again. I'm going to move us onto my bedroom and then we'll move downstairs. All right, we're in my bedroom now, and sticking with the theme of ending on the Crimson Queen, let's just come right over here. And this is my Hoya carnosa inner variegated. This one is sometimes called the Crimson Princess. I think it's a similar story with trade name and trademark, but this is a Costa Farms. I don't know if they call theirs Crimson Queen. I forget. You can see it's still in the Costa Farms planter. But I don't know. This one took a while to actually start doing anything for me. It's not my favorite of the carnosa varieties, but it likes living here now that it's had some time to acclimate. It's got these pink vines instead of the like maroon brownish vines of most carnosa. Yeah, I've got this one. It's fine. I don't love it. It's never bloomed. It's barely done anything, but I had the queen, so had to get the princess. All right, moving on over here. This is a Hoya lacunosa autumn blush. This is one I got from Proven Winners. It's done really well. It's a pretty like most lacunosa, it's pretty no fuss. I love the splashing on it. It's already put out some peduncles. They're really small. It's blasted them each time it's put them out, but I'm interested to see what happens when this one blooms because the peduncles are a lot smaller than my other lacunosa blooms, and I'm interested to see if the flowers are going to be just as small and if it's going to smell similarly. But yep, Hoya lacunosa autumn blush. It grows really well. This is a west-facing window. There is also a grow light right here for my philodendron Bet Waterberry, formerly philodendron 69686, but this is not a philodendron tour. We're almost done in here. I don't have a lot of Hoya in this room, but downstairs I have an heirloom Hoya carnosa that my sister gave me. I believe it's her husband's aunt's. My sister had it for a while. It needed some attention, so she gave it to me. We'll talk more about it when we see it, but I took a cutting. It's just in this like cool little vase. It's put out one new leaf in the time I've put it in there, and it's been in there for months, but I mostly added it there because I like it in that tiny little vase. But it's still a Hoya, so it's making it into this tour. I'm going to do another quick scan here, but I think that's it for Hoya in the bedroom. Yeah. Oh, and I've been giving away some plants, so like that's why right over here, that's empty. There's nothing in there. I've given away a few. I say I'm going to clear out plants, but I think it's just to make more room for new ones. Anyway, okay, so let's move downstairs and see the Hoya there. Oh, I almost forgot. So I have a little terrarium in my room, and in here I have a Hoya croniana. This is from my Super Silver, but it had reverted or lost its splashing. It's a little out of focus, but whatever. And then I also have the outer variegated Hoya Bella in here. I have a larger one. Larger is a bit of an overstatement downstairs, but this one came from that. I believe it's called the Hoya Bella Aneka Bois. It's French. I don't speak French. I'm sure I butchered that, but I almost forgot about this one. So yeah, there's Hoya in this terrarium as well. All right, let's go downstairs. All right, we're down here in my front room, and that curio cabinet right over there is all filled with Hoya, and we'll get to that in a second. But there's a few others, a few stragglers around here that I wanted to get to first. So the first one is this Hoya Shepherdii. I should also mention here, I know I've heard with Hoya and the double I's at the end of the names, I've heard people just pronounce one I. I've also heard people pronounce two I's. I've always pronounced two. I don't really want to retrain my brain, so we're going to pronounce it both I's for the sake of this video. But yeah, this is my Hoya Shepherdii. It has flowered for me before. What I've found with this one is it's only flowered for me when there's been another blooming Hoya around it. So when my Croniana Super Silver first bloomed, it was above this one, and the Shepherdii put out one bloom. When my Bella that used to be next to it bloomed, this one bloomed again. So I don't know if it's this plant specific, like my plant, or this species, but whenever it's near another blooming Hoya, I can almost guarantee this one's going to bloom for me. So yep, that's my Hoya Shepherdii. I've got another one, not another Shepherdii, but over here is my Hoya Wyetii. I haven't had this one bloom for me yet. I heard Wild Fern say that this one likes warmer conditions to bloom. Mine looks mature enough to bloom. I'm wondering if it's just not warm enough here. This is a south-facing window. It gets pretty good light and pretty good warmth, but if I move it upstairs, it's going to get some more heat. So I may do that, but this one's always grown really, really well for me. It does not like to be watered. It's in a really moisture retentive mix. It's Casa Farms. So yeah, there is actually a cutting of a Hoya Wyetii that my friend gave me somewhere in there, but I mean, it's long hidden now. Yeah, barely water this one. It's pretty no fuss. I love how full it is, but yeah, it's never bloomed for me. Okay, so we're gonna get to the curio cabinet, but before we do, I have, let me check, just this last Hoya that I wanted to talk about. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull these Hoyas down and I'm gonna open the cabinet so we can get a better look in there. But this is that heirloom Hoya carnosa that I was telling you about that my sister gave me. So when she gave this to me, it was not in the best state. The leaves were pretty yellowed, pretty bleached. It was pretty underwatered. I actually, it was pretty early in my plant days. So I actually thought it was a Hoya crassia petiolata just because of the way I could see the venation. But I cut back all of the dead vines, and I've just been kind of babying it ever since. And I know it's just a Hoya carnosa, but it's now one of my favorites in my collection. Continually puts out new growth, has not bloomed for me, but some of the vines that I cut off when I had to cut them off did have peduncles on them. You can see it really likes this grow light. there's a ton of growth on the top. But yeah, love this one. I love its like comeback story. The first summer I had it, I actually kept it outside in a shaded area, and it loved that. I think that helped it kind of get back on the right track. But yeah, that's my Hoya carnosa. I don't know how old it is. I can talk to my sister actually. If I find out before I post it, I can add some more details. And if I remember, I'll add some of the photos from when I first got it. Okay, I'm gonna take this Hoya down and this Ripsalis down so I can open up the cabinets here and we can take a look at all the Hoya inside of there. Okay, I've opened up the curio cabinet and oh, this was a Facebook Marketplace find when I first bought the house. I love this thing. Okay, Hoya tour, back on track. Over here we have a Hoya sigillatus. This one does really well for me. It has wrapped around the trellis multiple times, has never bloomed. I have not moved it, I'm afraid to. I hear it's a pretty finicky Hoya, and once it finds a place it likes to stay there. So I haven't really moved it. I'll move it to water it, but it's pretty much always lived here. Does really well, does better than that narrow form that we saw earlier. Over here is a Hoya Rebecca. I used to think this was a Lacanosa because I just got it as a leave a cutting, take a cutting at a plant shop. But after seeing it bloom multiple times and it's always blooming, and seeing how it sun stresses a little bit here, I'm fairly certain that this is a Hoya Rebecca. One of the ways I can also tell is the blooms are a little smaller than a Lacanosa, and they have a bit of like a pink blush to them. And that's pretty indicative of the Hoya Rebecca. So fairly confident this is a Hoya Rebecca. Over here is my Hoya Nicholsoniae New Guinea Ghost. This one, when I first got it, I struggled. It died back a few times. I had to cut it back a few times. It seems to like to stay more wet than some of my other Hoya, but it also is in a less moisture retentive mix, so that could be why. But yeah, love the color on this one. Very similar to that Hoya Lacanosa Mint. It's just got that minty color to the leaves with like the darker splotching. Just really cool. Over here is a Hoya Rotunda Flora. This is one of my favorite Hoyas as well, just from like a leaf shape perspective. It's got these like rectangular leaves with like the corners rounded off. I should probably up-pot this one again. It's not in a lot of soil, but it continues to grow. It continues to wrap around the trellis. It continues to give me no fuss. I water it with the rest of my Hoyas. It doesn't really get like more watering compared to the rest. But yeah, hasn't bloomed for me. Love the leaf shape. Really, really cool Hoya. I know some people have it trailing, which I like a lot. I may do that with it one day, but just for now, it's nice and compact on here. Really, really cool Hoya. You don't see it a lot. Love that leaf shape. Over here is another Carnosa. This is my Hoya Carnosa Compacta Outer Variegated. I struggle with this one. I think a lot of people do. It's pretty much the same size as when I got it. It'll start to put out new growth and it'll die back. It seems to hate to be watered. It seems to hate to go dry. I would love tips and tricks on this one because it's a really cool Hoya. Multiple people have called it out when they see it, even like non-plant people. I'd love to get some more growth on it. I'd love for it to be a little bushier, but I continue to struggle with it, and I think a lot of people do. So yeah, Hoya Carnosa Compacta Outer Variegated. Over here is my Hoya Retusa. This one just grows and grows. It's probably gonna have to come out of here before too long. Has not bloomed. Really cool Hoya. Really interesting leaves. Very different than most Hoya. Let me see if I can get a good light. There we go. You can kind of see them there. They're really, really long and narrow. This right here is a Hoya Lacanosa Royal Flush. I got this in Philadelphia on tour, actually, and was able to bring it back, keep it alive. It was much smaller when I got it, and now grows pretty consistently. Hasn't bloomed. I think that's in focus. Sorry if it's not. Over here is a Hoya latifolia Rangsam. So, you know, part of that family of Hoya upstairs, the one I talked about, the Hoya latifolia outer variegated that was mislabeled as the macrophylla for the longest time. This is also a latifolia, Rangsan. This one doesn't do much for me. I think it probably needs more light, but it fits nicely in that corner. It's still alive. It doesn't seem to hate being alive, so it'll just stay there. This is a Hoya Kamingiana. I don't like this Hoya actually at all. I know folks will say take it off the trellis, let it do its thing, let it grow that way. I just don't really like this Hoya. Doesn't do much for me. Moving on, this is my Hoya Bella outer variegated, the Aneka Bois, the one that I have up in the terrarium in my bedroom. This used to be bigger. This shelf actually collapsed once, and I lost quite a bit of this Hoya Bella. So it was bushier when I first got it, but one vine survived and it continues to grow. Part of why that Bella is in the terrarium upstairs is because it was from broken parts of the plant when this all collapsed. Moving on, this is a Hoya Pubicalyx. I got this on tour in Indianapolis. I do not remember the name of the shop. You can see Sandwich in the corner there in the mirror. Hi, Sandwich. I do not know what variety of Pubicalyx this is. It has not flowered for me. I know there's quite a few varieties of Pubicalyx, so yeah, very splashy one, I can tell you that. Didn't do much for me until I put it on a trellis, and then it finally started growing. Grows in really, really dense, which I love. It's almost like shrub-like. But I hope it blooms for me one day. That said, I just love how splashy this one is, so I'm pretty happy with it as it is. Over here is just an all green form Hoya species affinity Bertonier. I mentioned upstairs the variegated one I'm not crazy about. The green form is fine. I know it's a really easy bloomer. It has not bloomed for me. But it grows. It does fine. It's no fuss. And yeah, that's it for the Hoya on my first floor. I don't have any in the back room, or sorry, in the dining area. And there's none in the kitchen because that's all north facing. Nothing over there. So yeah, we'll move into the basement. We're in my basement now, and everybody say hello to Sandwich. Sandwich is not a Hoya, but she wants to be in the video. Hi, Sandwich. All right, so I've got quite a few Hoya in this Mills bow cabinet, but before we get into that, let's get into the Hoya that are out here first. So another one of my favorites is my Hoya Polyneura. I bought this one as a bare root cutting. Bought it in downtown Chicago. It was like parked on Michigan Avenue, right by Millennium Park, just waiting for this gal to run downstairs and deliver this guy to me. So didn't do much for a really long time when I got it, but now grows really consistently. I love this plant. This is a south-facing window, but we're in my basement, so it's like a half window. So I found this is like the perfect light for it. It's also a little cooler in my basement, and I know this Hoya likes cooler temps, so there's even a vent right up there. Does not seem to mind. But yeah, one of my favorite Hoyas as far as leaf shape is concerned, and really, really easy to care for once it started growing. Has not bloomed for me, but I hope it will one day. Straight down here, I have my Hoya Bella. This one had scale when I first got it, but it did not stop it. It continues to grow, no longer has scale. And this one has bloomed for me. I actually have a time lapse as a YouTube short, but I'll probably throw that time lapse up in the corner here so you guys can see it. Hoya Bella is cool. This one likes to stay wet, but for me really has been no fuss. Like I said, it had scale. We beat that together. It's bloomed a couple times for me. It continues to grow. It was a little straggly when I first got it, but it has since filled out. So yeah, Hoya Polyneura, Hoya Bella. That was really shaky, I'm sorry. Moving on over here, there's just a couple more Hoya. No, there's just one more Hoya over here that I want to show you. And that is another Carnosa variety. This is the Hoya Carnosa Chelsea. This is a Costa Farms plant that I found just one day when I was shopping. Struggled with it at first. I think it took a while to acclimate, but it's doing well now. It doesn't get a ton of light because it's kind of tucked in this corner, but yeah, it's happy. It's still putting out that Hoya Chelsea leaf shape, and I like collecting the Carnosa varieties. So yeah, let me just double check. That's it as far as Hoya outside of the cabinet down here are concerned. But yeah, I'm gonna open up this cabinet. We'll get into here. All we have left is this cabinet and then my grow tent in the back. So let's just wrap up and yeah, we're almost done here. I opened the doors here of my Mills bow. And first up, this is a Hoya Sunrise. At least I think it is. It was not labeled when I got it, but I'm fairly certain from the leaf shape that it's a Hoya Sunrise. And it's even beginning to sun stress a little bit. So we're going to call that one a Hoya Sunrise. Do not come for me. This is another Hoya Rosita. This one you can see the black margin on it. This one continues to grow for me very well. This one is one of the few that I cannot remember off the top of my head. I know it's Hoya Cipitil and something. Here, let's look. I can never remember how to say this one. This is a newer Hoya for me. I found this one in Indiana when I was coming home from a trip and knew nothing about it, but saw it, had never seen it before. Upon some research, I found out it really likes humidity, so I've just got it in this cloche. But it's Hoya Cipitengiensis. Hoya Cipitengiensis. I'm not going to try to say that again. So I knew I was going to get tripped up on this one. I don't see a lot about this one. I think there's only a couple YouTube videos about it. So if you know anything about this Hoya, even like how to say its name, please let me know in the comments. All right, I'm going to put this cloche back on. See if I can do it one-handed. Beautiful. Over here, this is a unnamed type of Hoya lacanosa. I found this one at a nursery out by my parents called Platt Hill Nursery, and it was just labeled, you know, Hoya. I'm fairly certain it's a lacanosa. I'm fairly certain it had or has mites. You can just tell by the way some of that looks, but I liked how compact it was. The leaves are pretty small for lacanosa. Might have bugs. We'll see. This is that Hoya latifolia outer variegated that I was telling you about. This is a cutting from a plant that I killed a long time ago. And this cutting has done really well. I've cut it back a few times and it keeps growing. This leaf is huge. I mean, it's not the biggest latifolia outer variegated leaf I've ever seen, but was very surprised to see this one. But yeah, like I said, I love this Hoya, so I'm always happy to keep trying with it. Even like that, it's a really cool leaf. It's almost like watercolor. So yeah, got another one of those. Down here, this is a Hoya incrusata outer variegated. I got this on a work trip in St. Louis. It does not grow well for me. I'm going to pull this out. I struggle with it. So if you look, when I bought it, it had these really, really nice outer variegated leaves. Just like really, really cool, really consistent, and it's been growing in for me like this. I don't know. There is some outer variegation. It might have bugs. I've looked with my microscope. It doesn't seem to, but I just struggle with this one. It's still alive. I wanted to feature it because we're covering all the Hoyas, good and bad, but I struggle with that one. If you have any tips on that, please let me know. It's not my favorite anyway, but I'd like to give it a decent shot. Last one here in the cabinet is a Hoya Mini Bell. I realize I also said that that plant might have bugs, so I am going to try to not touch this Hoya, and I'm going to wash my hands when I'm done here, but this is my Hoya Mini Bell. Not much to say about it. It's relatively new to my collection. This new leaf that I'm not going to touch has some cool splashing. The first set of leaves that grew in when I got it fell off, but I think we're going to get both of these leaves to come in on the new node. More to come on this one. I know this is a cross as well. I want to say, and I'll correct myself on screen if I'm wrong, but I think it's Hoya shepherdii and carnosa cross, but I am not 100% sure. I will correct myself on screen if I am wrong. But yeah, that's the last one I've gotten here. This is not a Hoya, but if you know Hoya, you likely know that this is a Dischidia ovata. I also think that this one had bugs. I've treated it. Still puts out new growth. But yeah, this is a cousin of the Hoya. So yeah, that's everything I've got Hoya-wise in this cabinet. And I think I covered everything here in this part of the basement. No, one more right here. Apologies. So this right here used to be Hoya pachyclada. Now it's Hoya subquintipinervis, something like that. I'll put the name on the screen, but yeah, it got renamed. It's a weird one. It's got really, really thick vines, like really chunky vines. I've had to cut it back a few times. Now it just kind of does its thing. I don't think about it much. Obviously, I'm remembering here at the end of the basement part of the tour that it's even here, but it does look like, if you look here in the center, it has a peduncle, and it's done that before, but it's yet to bloom for me. And yeah, I don't know much about this Hoya. I know the blooms are pretty cool. I know it's a bit of a weird one in like the Hoya family in that, like, I think even the blooms look similar but different. Like they look a little more porcelainy, but I could be totally wrong. I don't know. This one's never flowered for me, so like, you know, don't take my word for anything. But yeah, okay, we're gonna move on to the grow tent and then we're gonna be done here. All right, we're on the home stretch here. This is the last spot of my home that has Hoyas currently, at least as of this time of filming. And yeah, this is my grow tent. A lot of holdover plants, a lot of plants that, you know, I was either rehabbing or starting from cuttings, or I just don't currently have room or know where I want them yet. So we'll just go from the top down. This is Hoya latifolia intervariegated, sometimes called pot of gold. I struggle with this one. I don't think it has bugs. I've checked multiple times with the microscope, but as you can see, it struggles to live. I've cut it back. It doesn't really grow. Some new leaves will come in and it'll drop. Sun stresses really nicely, I learned. But yeah, struggle with this one, which is why it's in this tent. Over here is the Hoya venviensis. I think I said that right-ish. I got this one not too long ago, which is surprising because it's put out a ton of growth, a ton of new vines. As you can see, it's like most of the vines have already wrapped around the trellis at least once. And the leaves are super thick, really cool. They're super fuzzy on the back and like really waxy on the front. Really interesting Hoya. I did wash my hands after handling some of the maybe bug Hoyas. But yeah, this one just keeps growing. I don't know what the blooms look like. It has not bloomed for me, but it keeps putting out these cool chunky leaves and I'm really happy about that. Over here is Hoya carnosa crinkle 8. So like I mentioned, I like collecting the carnosa varieties. This one I got in Philadelphia from a shop. Actually is a really long singular vine cutting. And I managed to bring it home alive. If you can hear the jingling behind me, that's Sandwich scratching her ears. But I managed to bring the whole vine home alive. I cut the vine up into nodes and then just rooted it in sphagnum moss. It took really well, and now I've got it potted up and it's surprisingly full. I mean, it started as literally one vine. It probably had like, 10 nodes on it, but started as one vine that came all the way back from Philadelphia to Illinois. And now it's a pretty full 4-inch pot. Down here, we have the Hoya choke. This is also a cross between Hoya carnosa and Hoya serpens, like the Mathilde. I believe they're from like the same seed pod. I struggle with this one. I heard it's really easy. It's been, as you can see, dying back for me. I just moved it down here into this grow tent, hoping that some extra humidity and some extra light are going to be good for it. But yeah, I heard it was really easy. It has not been the case for me. So yeah, home stretch here. If you watched my Hoya linearis video, you can see the Hoya props are doing really well, or the linearis props are doing really well. There's a lot of new growth in there. Everything seems to be rooted, and before too long, I'll probably pot that up. In here, I don't want to open it up, but I have some of the cuttings of my Hoya australis lisa. And then the last Hoya that I'll feature is this one right here. And this is a Hoya verticillata. I am not sure what type, what variety. I know there's a lot of different Hoya that end up in verticillata. But yeah, this one I got a while back. It was a pretty small, maybe had like 5 or 6 leaves on it when I first got it. Maybe more, I don't know. But I struggled with it for a while, and now it's pretty established. It's taken off, and it continues to grow for me. The leaves are, you know, nothing crazy special as far as Hoya are concerned, but they're really rigid, really thick. Some of the bigger ones have some like nice venation on them, and you can kind of see some like, you know, there's some weight and some height to this leaf. Height by height, I mean like you can see like the different heights in the venation, and then weight. I mean, it's a pretty hefty Hoya leaf. But yeah, not the flashiest Hoya, has not flowered for me, but still a cool Hoya, grows consistently, and yeah, I like it a lot. So let me do one last swipe in here. I think that's everything. But yeah, maybe we'll do a final count here, but that's all the Hoya I've got in my house right now. All right, well, if you made it this far, thank you so much. We have reached the end of my Hoya tour. That is currently all of the Hoya that I have in my house, doubles and all. If you stuck around this long, seriously, thank you. Please feel free to like and subscribe. I would love that. But yeah, if you had any questions about anything that you saw, please feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. I am by no means a Hoya expert, but I obviously have a lot of them here in the house, and they're all mostly alive, and they're all mostly doing all right. So yeah, ask away, and I hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.